everything, and then they start the presentation. Let me switch the camera around.
It's his art.
Hi there folks, good morning. There are some more minutes to go. The other session just ended, so maybe 2 or 3 more minutes, then they will start the presentation. It's good to see you folks. Hope the stream works well. According to what I see on screen, bitrate should be okay. Let me quick switch the camera around. One moment, here we go. Hey folks, thank you so much for 1000 subscribers, that's amazing. You are amazing. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen nach Deutschland, Österreich. Schöne Grüße hier von der Hamvention in Xenia. Die Parks on the Air Präsentation startet in Kürze. Presentation will start in a couple of minutes. There's a second presentation after this one, but I will end the stream and start a new stream for the second presentation. Sorry, a little bit shaky. That's when I touch the phone to adjust things. Internet wohl schwach bei dir, okay. Hallo Carlos. Schönen Nachmittag oder schönen Nachmittag nach Österreich. It was the same yesterday in Forum 3. At the beginning the picture quality was very choppy, and in the end it was better. Your internet is bad, yeah, okay, I'm sorry folks. There's nothing I can do right now. Lots of people are on the mobile network. Now it's getting better again. It's up and down folks, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I just can hope when the presentation starts, people stop talking, stop using their mobile internet, and then it will get better.
Sure. Whenever. I'll take this with me. I'm last though, right? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes frame rate drops below 1000 kilobits per second. Hi Graham. Hi mate, good morning, good afternoon. I know the internet connection is choppy folks, but yesterday I had the same problem at the beginning, but it was better at the end. Once again, if people stop surfing the web and phoning and whatever, and when they follow the presentation, I guess the connection will get better. Hallo Carlos, schönen Nachmittag. Hello everybody. Yeah, like hello Tobias, hello Tobias. Like yesterday, it may be should settle down. I think. Yeah. Wait till the presentation starts and then it will get better. Let's see. The problem is, outside the building I have 5 bars, 5G connection, but when you go inside the building, I'm losing 5G and I'm on LTE. Okay. It's 80% okay. Thank you, Carlos. Just let it settle down and it will get better. But believe me, I guess it is better than using the Wi-Fi network. Hey Furkan, good afternoon Turkey. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay. Let's see how the audio is coming through. I gave them a microphone, so there's my second microphone up there. At least the audio quality should be okay. Okay, here we go.
As soon as everybody finds a seat, we'll get started. My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. In 2016, the ARRL introduced a program called National Parks on the Air, NPOTA for short. It was only intended to last for 1 year, so when it concluded a year later, there were a group of people, including Jason Johnson, W3 Alpha Alpha X-Ray, and 3 or 4 other people that are still on the board with POTA. They said, I'm having too much fun. We can't have this thing go away. So between Jason and his band of bandits, they put together the current Parks on the Air. And if you talk to any of these guys, they never dreamt that this would be worldwide. They were hoping to do something for their buddies, to keep going to parks. In the original program, they only had US parks. But we all know how it's grown since then. I think that we've surpassed the 40 million QSO mark, and you'll hear some other statistics. You'll hear other statistics during this meeting and the seminar that's following this, but it's been pretty remarkable. Some people say that POTA has saved ham radio. I'm not going to step up to that, but I think if you ask around, we certainly have made a significant difference. Today we're going to give you an overview of what it's like to activate a park. And rather than me and Mark, who we'll introduce in a second, rather than us stand up here and drone on, we brought these 4 individuals. And there's a saying in POTA, if you've been around for a while, that there's POTA royalty. And these are POTA royalty. These are people that you all know their call signs. They've activated a lot of parks. If you haven't met them in person before, you certainly have probably met them on air. And we thought it was best to hear from them how they activate, what interests them, maybe even how they got into Parks in the Air. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my compatriot here, Mark, K8MST.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Mark Juergen, K8MST, as he said. We're really happy to have everybody here. It's amazing, as he said, the exponential growth of POTA. What I like to say is it's really not about radios and antennas, and everybody talks about this new POTA towers, and it's about the magic of the people. And I think having this many people, this is our real first opportunity in delving into symposiums. It's fantastic. So I want to say, on behalf of Rick Parent, who's really like the CEO, he got involved in the beginning, put in the money, made POTA where it is today. He was going to be here. He's ill, and he wasn't able to travel. And I know he's really upset that he wasn't here, but the doctor said, no, you're staying home. So I do want to mention, thanks to Rick and his leadership in giving us the board of director. And I'm a new. I have Tom here, Mike Case is here, John Ford is here, Tom Martin is here. If you guys are here, stand up. In the second symposium, we're going to talk more about what we're going to do and why, how, what, and just to keep the perpetuation of the growth. It's just been fantastic. I like to say POTA on, but it's magic. So thank you for being here. And I will one more thing. If you see the screen, the QR code. Kevin did a great job of this code. You can type a question, send it up, and then we can kind of go through the questions if you have questions to any of the activators. And then in the second one, the same thing. So it'll help us keep track of it and then just keep the flow moving. So I can introduce Jason. Jason and I are in the same club in Michigan, and I nominated him as the royalty. I said, Jason, the silent majority here, he's done a lot of activation. So he's the first one, and he's going to talk about how he likes to activate. Jason?
Thank you. Good morning. My name's Jason. I'm Kilo November 4 Alpha Lima, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm honored to be here because I don't consider me a big fish in POTA. I'm more of a medium fish. So I definitely respect all the people who run all the miles and everything. But I'm going to talk a little bit about equipment, I guess how I got started in POTA, and equipment and setup. I first learned about POTA from my buddy Lewis, N8LEK, from the South Lyon Amateur Radio Club. He'd been in it since the beginning, and that's about all I knew about it. I had just recently got back into HF, so I was hearing these people on the air saying CQ POTA, CQ POTA. Okay, well, I'm happy to give you a contact. But it wasn't until another friend showed me the website, and I'm like, and I registered on the website, and I actually had a couple of awards waiting for me. I said, that's kind of neat. Plus, you have a spotting page. So the next 3 months, I had a lot of fun on weekends going down the list and seeing who I could hear. And I know there's a lot of big hunters out there. That's great. It's a lot of fun. But I quickly learned that I wanted to be the one going out to those parks. I love to travel and see new things. I'm always game for a good road trip. So, or an off-road trip. I do have a Jeep, and it's helped me to get to some of these crazy places. So anyway, my first activation, we had this beautiful warm sunny day in February, which we never get in Michigan, or even here you probably. So I said, I want to get out there and activate. So I tore apart my base station. I threw it in the back, threw it in my Jeep. I had a big battery I used for a trolling motor on my canoe, and threw that in there and said, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh crap, wait, I need an antenna. Okay, at home I mostly run wire antennas because I live in a neighborhood with an HOA. They're pretty lenient, but you don't want to push the envelope. So I literally spent about 10 minutes soldering a 34-foot piece of wire to an SO239 connector, hooked another one on for a counterpoise, and went out to Pontiac Lake State Recreation Area, which I live next door to, and so that's my home park, US 3323, and set up in the West Pavilion, threw the wire over the tree. I'm on the air. Don't know if it works yet, but I'm on the air. Made a couple of park-to-park contacts to test it out. They came back to me. Okay, things are working. Started calling CQ, and next thing I know, 15 minutes later, I had a page full. I'm like, I did it. My first activation. I did it. Well, I was hooked after that. So I spent the next 2 or 3 weekends doing the same thing, and I quickly learned I don't want to be tearing apart my base station all the time and everything. So I'm like, I like this. Let's get some equipment. So first thing, radios. My radio of choice is the Yaesu FT891. I like it because it's kind of a compromise between, it's a smaller footprint. Some people run the bigger radios. I got friends who run, 7300s and FTDX10s. That's great. I like it's a little bit smaller. I have friends that go the other way and run QRP, like KX2s, KX3s. They're beautiful radios. But I also wanted something that puts out 100 watts. QRP, you can do amazing things with 10 watts when conditions are good. But sometimes they're not. The last 2 or 3 weeks here, they've been dismal. So I like having that little bit of extra power. So I went with the 891. It's a really good price point for the radio. I think you get a lot of luck. The next thing, needed a battery, something a little smaller than the big one I had. 20 amp hour lithium iron phosphate batteries. I won't use anything but lithium iron phosphate. They are fantastic performing batteries. So 20 amp hours. I'm mostly a sideband guy. So I found with 50 watts out, I get about 8, I call average activations out of a charge, which is about 30 to 60 minutes. So I run that. Antenna tuner, that's optional. I run one because I do, the 891, one of the compromises is the 891 doesn't have a built-in tuner. That's great if you run resonant antennas, but I do run some non-resonant antennas, so I want the antenna tuner. I run the LDG 100. It's a fairly small, lightweight, can sit right on top of the radio. Okay, perfect. So I run that, and then probably one of the biggest things you want is antennas. That end-fed long wire worked great for me for probably the first 40 or 50 activations. But I wanted to look at other ones because sometimes, well, as it got warmer, now you got rangers in the park. You're not supposed to have wires in the trees at most of these. Plus, I went to some parks. There were no trees around. Now what do I do? So, okay, I've got a couple of 17-foot telescopic vertical whips and Wolf River coils to go underneath it to give you 40 meters. Those work great. I have both the option. I can put it on a tripod, so if I want to go, I don't have the radio mounted in my Jeep. I keep things pretty simple. I'm more of a keep it simple kind of guy. So the radios usually sit on my passenger seat. If anybody who has a Jeep Wrangler knows there's not really a lot of room to mount radios, but I don't want it in there because if I want to go to a pavilion, okay, well, I want to take the radio over to the pavilion. I can put it on a tripod and some radios on there. It works great for that. I put a mount on the back of my Jeep so I can put it on there too. I still run the end-fed long wire, and I also, at home, I run a G5RV Junior. I love that because it tunes up great on every band. I got some friends who run dipoles, off-center fed dipoles that work really well. Well, for that, I got one of those spider beam masts. I got it where I can put it into a flagpole carrier, slide that into the mount or to the hitch of my Jeep, and up in the air I go. It's good to have a lot of options because when you go to parks, sometimes you got a lot of room to set up. You can put the big elaborate antenna up, but other parks, you got people parked next to you, you got people walking around, you can't necessarily do that. So with the vertical, I can put it on the back of my Jeep and sit in my Jeep, and nobody's, other than this crazy 17-foot stick sticking up off the back of my Jeep, nobody knows what I'm doing. So you can get away with activating parks sometimes without being too obtrusive there. I've also learned carry extra things with you because something will always go wrong. I've heard somebody coin the phrase, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. One of the first activations I did with a friend of mine, we went out to show him how to do POTA, took that end-fed long wire out, and because I'd used it so much, the connector fatigued and just fell right off the end. And I'm like, uh-oh, now what do we do? Fortunately, he had brought an antenna. He had like a PAC-10 or something similar, so we were still in business. But as much as you can, carry extra stuff with you. A lot of people can't necessarily afford a second radio, but interconnecting cables, coaxial cables, battery cables, an extra battery, multiple antennas, have it all with you. It will save your activation, especially if you've driven 3 hours to go hit some new parks for the weekend, and you might be stuck if you don't have any, if you've lost a critical component there. So definitely recommend that. The other thing I'll say, if anybody is looking to activate, I also want to put out a plug to my buddy Mike, W8MSC. Go on to the website if you have any questions. He meticulously wrote all the documents there to to explain to you how to do an activation. So go check that out. Anyway, that's about all I got. If you have any questions, I'll be around the Hamfest today. Feel free to stop me, and if you have any questions or you want to talk. Thank you.
Next up is a gentleman named Les, KI5GTR. I met Les down in Turks and Caicos. He traveled that far to activate a couple parks with John at the end of the aisle here. So it doesn't have to be just a U.S. park. People are, as I said earlier, now activating parks worldwide. Just another statistic I'll throw at you And these statistics go out of date so fast, I almost don't dare say this, but I think at last count that I knew, we had 68,605 parks worldwide. It's amazing. And just a shout out to the volunteers. This is an entirely volunteer-run organization, and people like the mapping representatives, managed by John Ford, by the way, who's in the room, work tirelessly to keep up with us all. Les, thank you.
Jason, I think he's a public speaker. It's going to be hard to follow his act there. I'm kind of shy behind the mic unless there's a radio there, but my name is Les Chalfant. I reside near Little Rock, Arkansas. Drove up here for the Hamfest. My first time here in Ohio at this Hamfest, and I really am enjoying this. I'd also like to thank Kevin and Mark for having this forum and having us here. And also I'd like to thank all you guys for taking time out to show up. Thank you. And I'll just say a little bit about my experience. I was licensed in 2022, and I got a late start. I'm 53 now, and I wish I'd have got started earlier. But some of my memorable things, I wanted to set a goal that I wanted to activate all the parks in our home state of Arkansas, about 286, I believe it is now. And I did that in a little less than a year. I won't be able to retire soon, because as well as everyone knows, POTA, you think, okay, that's all I need. I'm going to buy this and I'm done. And then my wife, hey, I think you need to get a tower at the house. I think she was wanting me to stay home more because I was traveling so much. But used a lot of sick leave and everything to try to expand my time to get out and do POTA in. But I really enjoy it. And I had a friend like Jason that said, hey, come check out POTA. I didn't know what it was. And then it took that one time I activate, and been doing it since. I love it. And one thing I really enjoy is talking to people. And I've got to meet a lot of people here and put a face to a voice, which means a lot to me. Because you can see pictures online or anything like that, but until you actually get to meet them, the ham community is great. All the POTA family as well. Great group, and I'm glad I got started in this. I wish I would have got into ham radio sooner, but that's a little about me. I'll give you just one story before I kind of go over. I was going to discuss 3 modes and challenges with them: phone bands, CW, and digital. But I got into CW, and I really enjoy it. It's probably my mode of choice, but like Jason said, make sure you have your gear. So I get out to a park, and I'm about to do some CW, and I realize I don't have a key. I left my key at home. Luckily, I had my 7300 with me, which I remember reading in the manual. Hey, you can use the microphone, the up and down buttons to key. I said, this is challenging. This is what I'm going to do here on this activation. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't good fists at all, but I actually got through an activation keying up my microphone up and down, calling CQ POTA. Hey, I recommend someone try it. It's a great experience. It's fun. But I probably won't do it again. I'll make sure I have my key with me. But folks, I'm just kind of curious. A raise of hands. I know there's some veteran POTAs here. Is there anyone here that's getting involved that hadn't really been in POTA yet? Can you raise your hand? Okay, good job. Looking forward to getting you in the logbooks. And we have a lot of seasoned veterans here. I love hunting and running the airwaves. But the first mode is phone with me, and I think everyone will realize this. Between POTA, net control, or nets, people just rag chewing, is phone. And challenges with me is, everyone knows, finding a frequency. Man, there's someone on there. There's someone on there. But the way I've done it is, if I can't find a frequency I'm activating, I'll hunt some parks, because you get credit towards your activation. And if not, switch bands or switch modes. It's the easiest way to try to get some contact. Stick in there and do it. So kind of that's the way I do it. Or I'll switch to a CW, which finding a frequency isn't as hard at all on CW. If you know how to do CW, switch over, and there's a lot of CW ops that'd love to get you in the logbook. Or digital. I know we got some digital guys out there too. I am challenged with digital. I do get it through. It's probably my most challenging mode. So all the digital guys out there, please come see me. Give me all your hints, man. But the other thing with sideband pile-ups, everyone loves the pile-ups. Sometimes it's hard to catch who all's calling me. So what I try to do with pile-ups is hone in on a voice, a couple characters, a letter, and start narrowing it down so you can start getting one contact. And then go from there. And then another issue with the sideband is QRN. I have set up at parks where you go, this is beautiful, state park. Turn on your radio and you're like, what is that noise? Well, they got a pumping station down the road, you know. I don't know if anyone's ran into that. But in my favorite mode, CW. I'm a newer CW ops, 2 years now, got into CW ops, and I really enjoy doing POTA with that because it lets some people that only hunt CW. You know, their only mode they want to do is CW. They don't even own a microphone. But same issues there. Challenges, pile-ups. Sometimes you get stations that are weak or you can't copy them. You know, I just try to keep working them. I like the stations that are way down in the noise. Maybe they're QRP. Just trying to get them in the logbook there. And pile-ups with CW, that's tough too because all you hear is, I call it beeps and squeaks. Try to pick out a tone. Some guys will offset a little because they know that's the way to kind of get in. It offsets from everyone else on the frequency. So even if you're hunting, maybe offset your frequency a little bit, your tone, and a distinguished sound other than everyone else. And tell you, if you don't know CW, it's a good mode to learn. I like it, but I do like talking to people as well on sideband, but it is getting tough. POTA has exploded, and even I thought, I'm going to get out on a weekday. It don't matter. All right. Last thing I'll talk about is digital, and I have found this out personally with the digital is, I get out, I have no cell service, GPS, and I go, how come this isn't working? It's always important to sync your computer time. Because when it's not on and it's way out, I at least haven't made a contact doing that. So getting your time synchronization with your computer is very important. And that's when I figured out, okay, I've got to learn this mode better for me. And that was one thing I figured out. The other thing is I figured out the wrong way is RF in my audio interface or my USB cables. Because when I'm touching my laptop, I'm going, why is this laptop hot? I had RF issues. I didn't realize it. So choking stuff like that. But that's probably my least experienced modes. Digital, single sideband, and CW are my favorite. But just for POTA in general, I really enjoy it. It brought me to ham radio. I do get into contesting now, and I love rag chewing and doing Skywarn stuff in our area. But POTA was what got me into ham radio big time, and still looking forward to it. So the people that are new, congratulations, stick with it. Want any opinions from me, feel free to email me. Ask your Elmers anywhere around you. I'm sure POTA is everywhere. You can ask anyone if you get any info. But one thing leaving there, I did meet Kevin out there at a POTA park in Turks and Caicos, out of all places, which I was fortunate enough. John took me along there. But beautiful water, had a great time there. Other than my credit card got cut off the first day I was there because I didn't tell my bank I was going. When I went to buy my first souvenir, well, real quick, I go to buy everyone dinner. I said, I'm treating everyone to dinner. The waiter goes, oh, sorry, I accidentally run up $2,000 for the dinner. I canceled it. Please do. $200 go through. We're all good. I go to buy souvenirs the next day. Your credit card's declined. I'm not near home here. What do I did have cash, luckily, so I did learn to take cash with you. But anyways, thank you for all coming out, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again on the air, as well as the new people. POTA is a great, I would say a radio. I call it a hobby and an addiction now. It really is. Who's on the air when you pass the radio? Who's on the air? Spot and page. Every second my ham alerts are going off. But thanks everyone for coming out and supporting these guys with this forum, okay? Thank y'all.
Password. 1 second.
Technical issue. We can run a radio, but we can't run a laptop. That was directed at me, not you.
Yeah, that's right. It's his computer. I'm a horrible computer. I'm going to just check the questions. Oh, here's the question. Anyone using digital voice for POTA? Let's see. Well, let's ask Jason or Les. Anyone using digital voice for POTA? No? Carrie? John?
I use D-Star once.
Oh, D-Star.
On 2 meters.
Okay, so save it when you do your little talk. You can talk about that. Let's see if there's anybody. Remember, the QR code is a good way to do this. For somebody just getting started with Parks on the Air, how important is it to join a club that's active in POTA, or is it just as easy and fun to get started solo? Well, my club is with Jason. I'll let Jason answer that one.
It does help. That is nice, because if you have any questions, you got people there with experience. Because so many people are like, what do I do? What do I get? You know, you come out to, even if you don't have equipment, if you come out to, we do a support your parks quarterly for spring, summer, fall, and winter. And yeah, it's nice because you can actually come out there with them and they can show you how to do it. I know another one is the Black Swamp Club there. They are great for that too. They're big POTA people, and they will be happy to show you how to do it.
Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. And also, just one plug, even we want them to talk, not me. Quarterly Support Your Parks Week is really important for everybody in the room. It's a great way of supporting both sides of the equation, hunter and activator. Okay, let's see. Anyone? Oh, that question was already asked. What program do you use to sync the time? Wes, do you want? I can answer that one. I'm not a computer guy. Time.is, and I think that's one I use, and I think it's really a good one. Anybody else want to venture a comment?
JT Sync.
Say it one.
JT Sync, if you're running digital, it'll read what's there, it'll look at the times, and adjust your clock.
Very good. While working pileups during an activation is exciting and fun, clicking off QSO's contest style gets a little impersonal. Is there any call to be more laid back and get known on the other op?
It's your activation. You run it how you want. If you want to rag chew a little, that's up to you. If you want to just boom, boom, boom and work a pilot, that's up to you too. Great
answer. I hear that all the time. It's your activation. And it is. You're in control. You're the station operator. Other than FT891, what's your second favorite radio for POTA? Well, yeah, that's a loaded question. I was going to joke when I introduced the next speakers. Who's got the best radio? What is it? But that's, you get the old, you ask 10 people and you get 20 answers. Anybody else want to give a comment? Les, what radio do you use?
I use a 7300, or I like to hike a lot. Me and my daughter go hiking, and I like to take these state parks and stuff, and we go hiking in them. And when I get to the top, I'll take an IC 705 QRP rig, and I built a resonant QRP antenna, little in-bed wire, about 66 foot. I would say that, but I just got a new radio and I like it the best now.
Exactly. And all these vendors out here, they will tell you which is the best radio. They'll be happy to tell you. And you don't need only one. Yeah, my wife says, how many do you need? I said, I haven't figured it out. When I do, I'll tell you. So one public service comment, the photographer asked at the end of this presentation for everybody to stay in your seat. She wants to come up here and take a picture. This is our inaugural presentation. She wants to take a picture of everybody out in the room. What a great attendance. We're really happy that you're here. Jokingly, I wanted to say, did you hear the bands are all dead? But
Hey,
then
Vito,
did you
thank you
hear
so much.
these POTA people, that's all there are. They can't get through. It's POTA everywhere.
Good
Well, the
morning.
next activator is Carrie.
It's good to see you
And I
again.
was going to remind, she'll say something, but if you know that big tent that we have out there, that's really Carrie's group, and you'll see her there working all the time, and all the nice trinkets and souvenirs that we all have. Go visit her after the
Stream
second
can
presentation.
get a little bit
But
chunky
Carrie,
from time
come
to
on
time.
up
I'm
and
sorry,
do
folks.
your presentation.
It's good to see a lot of familiar faces out here and some familiar call signs that I actually haven't seen your faces before. I've just heard you on the air a lot. My topic to talk about today is making QSOs and logging and uploading that. But before I get there, I'm just going to a little bit about me. I've been doing the Parks on the Air since POTA. I started with my husband in February. I think we went out President's Weekend in February in the snow at Antietam National Battlefield. And that was a start of a long journey where we did a lot of activations. I'm over 1,500, but still chasing somebody again. And right now, over 5,000 activations and over 200,000 QSOs, all related to POTA. So I think I have a little bit of experience in making QSOs. As it was already mentioned, I think QSOs, as you're running a activation, it really is your activation. I'm not normally a talker, so this is really uncomfortable up here. But so when I run my activation, my goal is to get as many hunters in my log as possible because they want that park. So I don't normally spend a lot of time chatting. I might chat with a few old timers who I've had several thousand QSOs with. Or there's a familiar call every once in a while. I think some of you might have heard it. Whiskey Delta Zero, Alpha, Charlie, Bravo. You know, those sink, they sink in your brain. You've heard them over and over again. I'll recognize that call sign in a pileup just about every time. I only need probably that Bravo at the end, and it's probably Bruce from Kansas. So when you're activating with a QSO, the QSOs are, I'm running them fast. I do a list. Everybody has a different style. Some people don't like a list if they're a hunter because they say, well, I don't know if you actually heard my call. And that's true. But I do try to say I've got a list, I'm making a list,
Carlos.
and I'm going to run down the list. My list will be partial calls and full calls. And I usually try to go about 5 to 7 calls in that list as I go, making the QSOs, and I'll run down the list as quickly as I can, then call for another CQ. That's the way I do it. Everybody else has a different way. Some people want to do it one at a time, and I think part of the logging issue, if you are logging into a computer, it is easier, generally, to log one at a time. I've been paper logging since the very beginning. I've just started using Ham2K, which I do enjoy. I'm doing both at the same time because I'm still not sure I trust everything. I don't want to lose a log. So and I like my list. So when I write down my list of calls that I hear in that pile up, I'm going to make that list and then run that list for that. As far as we go for the logging programs, I've used several different kinds. I've logged on a laptop. I didn't like it, so I went back to my paper log. But I've used like N1MM, NFJ, whatever, N3 FJP. I'm not sure what it's on my laptop. I've tried that, and I've always gone back to my paper log. For the last year, I've been using the Ham2K, and I do enjoy it. It's easy to use. It's user-friendly. I've even got my husband trying it out, which I normally log for him, so that's a good thing. So those are some of the different things I've logged. When I do the paper log, I convert it then. I put use a logging program called Fast Log Entry. It's real easy. I can make since I sometimes at work I can't use a computer in general tied with that, but if I'm on lunch hour, I will take my logs in and I will convert it to a text file, and then I'll put it into FLE, and I can upload it that way. It creates my ADF file. The other program I've probably used the most, I'll always go back to logging paper. I know some people say, well, it takes a lot more effort to get it out there, especially when you're logging as many parks and QSOs as we do. But I can write faster than I'm typing on the phone or in the laptop for that matter. And I don't usually lose battery because I do take more than one pen. I do probably 4 or 5. And I have usually always had paper, even if I forget my logbook and decide, I'm going to go do a park on the way home and I forgot my logbook. I didn't put it in there because I do always have a radio in a vehicle because I made sure that's what we do. Even when he sends me out in the car, we actually put a trailer hitch on a Toyota Corolla so that I can put my Eagle 1 up when I go out. It works. Uploading. I love the fact that we can upload on our own now. It wasn't always the case. When we started, we were sending our logs off to those faithful volunteers who were uploading our programs or our files, telling us, you have some issues here. Can you redo them? Yep, we'll redo them. The big thing now is they're still the volunteers doing that work for us behind the scenes, and if you accidentally, some programs, sometimes you miss a file, it doesn't have SSB in there, and that log's going to barf on you. So you have to ask them to remove it and resubmit it. My problem is sometimes I forget to go resubmit it. It will eventually get in there because I'll go, I know I did that part before, and it's not in the logs, so I'll have to go find it and re-upload it. But the volunteers doing that are great, but I really love the fact that we can now upload our own logs. If anybody of you just starting, you have the benefit of the years of experience that those of us who are going, please let the logs go in. But now it's pretty easy to get it uploaded. You just have to do it in the right format. One thing I like, Ham 2K does the formatting for me. The naming convention is there to upload it. It makes it really easy, and enjoy it. Best thing that I love about the Parks on the Air right now is you guys out there, because this family has really helped. Ham radio. I think we've been doing it for 12 years now. 12 years, and as Ray will say, I used to go, just turn that off. I don't like the static. Or when he was doing Morse code, I said, no, you can put your headsets on, please. And now he tells me to put my headsets on or turn down the volume when I'm doing FT8. But I now do not just the voice, but I also learned to do CW because of this. I think it's a great thing. And even when, learning to do this in my 60s was not an easy thing to do CW, but I think it's a benefit for everybody because you do have hunters out there who will only hunt CW. I want to give them that chance to get a QSO at a park that they might not have had one before. And that's it. Thank you.
We'll get back to some of the questions after the next presenter. So the next person up is John, N5VOF, as you've heard now several times. I met him in Turks and Caicos. One of the notable things about John is he has 2 sons that are very active in POTA, and one is actually doing a forum while we speak, I believe. So it was really impressive that John's brought his kids up into the program and participating in Parks in the Air. John, thank you.
All right, good morning. As Kevin mentioned, my name is John Russell, and I have a POTA addiction. So I know everyone in here, if you want to raise your right hand and follow after me. No. So just a quick, my name is John Russell again, N5VOF, and as Kevin mentioned, I have two boys, Josiah, WD5JR, and Isaiah, who's 13. My oldest son's 17, my youngest is 13. KJ5CMP, Isaiah, and they're both in the youth forum right now. My youngest, 13, just gave a presentation over youth and POTA, so that was an awesome experience for him, and Josiah is over there on a forum right now doing a Q&A. So kind of what got me into POTA was about 3 years ago. I've been licensed since about 1989, and as you know, a lot of times through ham radio, life changes. Things come up, you get married, you have kids, and you go on with life. And so that's what happened with me. I was 14 years old, I got licensed. My dad was a ham, my brother, my mom, my grandpa, just a whole family of hams. And my dad used to tell me stories how back in the day he couldn't afford to talk to his dad when he was off to college, so they had a radio. And what they would do is they would pick up the line you could call on a telephone, and a party line, and say, you know, I have a collect call, and then the other person would pick up and say, I decline that, and hang up. Well, that was their cue to get on CW and to say, hey, we made it safe, and then they were get on sideband. And so that was something it was actually a great way to communicate back in the day. But what really got me started back in POTA, about 3 years ago, we had kind of a family scare. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we're from Oklahoma, live in Enid, Oklahoma, and not knowing she's a nurse, and I didn't really know what to do. And so my mom and dad live in Titusville, Florida, and they said, you know, there's a Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. Pack up your motorhome and head this way. So we did, and we stayed. They live in a community that's an RV community. They also have a house there. But my boys were just getting into ham radio and just took their license, and thank goodness they have online testing now, which made it even more unique for getting licensed and easier and so forth. So we were in Florida, and we were about 45 minutes from probably one of the most dangerous candy stores in Florida, ham radio outlets in Orlando. And I got to meet some great guys there. Mike, I think is Whiskey One, Sierra, Romeo. I don't know if he's here, but super nice guy. Helped get us started in POTA, and we were going and visiting there weekly. And anyway, I had quite a bill tab running there at that ham store. But you know, as I think back, and I just want to give a praise to God right now for my wife is healed from cancer, and she's over there with my boys right now. So, and you know, I think back as what got me started with POTA, it was family. My wife's even a ham, so we get out and we go activate park. She sits there and she just enjoys listening. She's a technician, but she just enjoys listening. And my oldest son, Josiah, he's an extra, and my youngest, Isaiah, he's a general, and they're both very proficient in CW. They can send 35 words a minute, easy. And I'm back around 17, 18, so I'm still kind of rusty. But what really got us going was going and activating these parks while we were in Florida and stuff, and traveling back and forth from Oklahoma to Florida. She was doing treatments, and it really brought our family close. It kind of gave us a reprieve. And I see some, when they raised their hands earlier, there's some new interest in POTA, and that's amazing. So what I want to talk about just for a few minutes is why building a community through Parks on the Air really matters. And as Kevin mentioned, you know, we look at Parks on the Air is, I'm probably the least, if you look at my stats, I'm the least qualified to be up here. These guys are great. There's some amazing activators and hunters out there. But what really maybe makes me a little bit different from a lot of other people is we activate with 3 activators, me and my 2 boys. And there's probably a lot of people that don't like that, and that's fine. I respect your opinion, and I have no issue with that. Some people just spin the dial when we have 3 activators, and I don't, you know, that's fine. And sometimes I get frustrated too in a pile up and there's a lot of activators. So I understand. But with building community through POTA, I think this is very important. we love to travel, and we have a motorhome, and we like to travel to different places and activate these new, POTA entities and these parks. And when we're there in these places, I just enjoy promoting ham radio and, in general, parks on the air. People come up and they say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's like, "Hey, sit down and explain it," And we're what keeps POTA alive. And as Kevin mentioned, I really, in my opinion, Parks on the Air kind of really gave a boost to ham radio overall. And it really maybe saved it. And in fact, a lot of people that maybe are mic shy, they get on the radio and it's like, it's a little bit harder just to get on there and call CQ. But if you're at a park or if you're hunting a park, you just give a signal report and maybe your park number, and that's it. So it's not as hard as you might think. So we like to demonstrate Parks on the Air. And I don't know how many's a member of a local club. You got some club members? Okay, so one thing in our local community is our club is stagnant. Okay, there's a lot of clubs. We get older generations of people, and they don't like change. And I understand that. It's kind of hard for some people to change, but one thing to do is have club-sponsored activities, a picnic, different things to promote POTA, and, getting out in the club as he's kind of mentioned, and showing off, some of these things. And, one thing that I've noticed, as Kevin mentioned, we had met in Turks and Caicos, is my big thing is building connections globally. So I'm a world mapping rep for the Turks and Caicos Islands. And what kind of got me in that position is we actually travel there probably 3-4 times a year, and we do activations and do ham radio there. And so I was trying to, inquire about different parks and things. And for those that are looking for parks, park ads, different things, I encourage you to go to the POTA website and look for your mapping rep for your state, your country, or whatever, or where you want to travel. Send them an email, and they will respond. If they don't respond, send another one. If they don't respond, then go, somewhere else. And and that's what I had to do. And I got a hold of David. I didn't realize David was even here. He is the world mapping rep, the head of the world mapping rep. So he's an amazing POTA representative. I want to give him a hand. And so since I got in connection with David, I became the VP5 or the Turks and Caicos mapping rep. And I've only added one park. There's a lot of new parks over there that we're looking at putting on the air and trying to add. It's a little different in other countries, so you have to bear with us on doing some of those things. And I do want to give a little plug that if you are a seasoned POTA person or somebody that's maybe not and you want to help promote Parks on the Air, there's a list of volunteers. Go to the website, talk to some of these guys. They need volunteers, and that's what keeps it going and active. My 17-year-old son is the Oklahoma POTA mapping rep, and I want to thank John Ford for helping him get that. He's amazing. He's added probably 30 parks, and he's answering emails daily and just all the time. So it's a very good thing to continue to promote. And one more quick thing with that, when we look at adding these parks, we get a lot of inquiries about why can this not be a park. There's certain reasons and restrictions. So if the POTA map says this is why, just take their word for it or go to the website and see that. Sometimes we'll post that. Now, I also started a Facebook group for our state, Oklahoma. And it's a closed group. We have about 105, 110 people in there. So there's a lot of different groups on Facebook. Go to the main Facebook group if you're wanting to and get on the POTA. And there's 20,000? There's a great amount of people there, and they post activations, and it's just a great way. Social media is a great way, whether you like it or not. I have mixed feelings with social media, but it's a great way to promote your activations, your hunts. Put a picture on there. We started as interestingly enough, being in Turks and Caicos, we travel there, and I think we've activated about 65 times in the last maybe 2 years. And when we went to, somebody mentioned, and I want to, before I lose this thought, somebody mentioned about you're activating, and we don't say hi long enough, or we run it in a contest style operating. When we're running 3 operators, in Turks and Caicos, and we sometimes have to move through the pileup. This is more like a contest when we're there. We're the DX, and so those that have actually tried to hunt us, or those that are in another country that know this, Kevin's a contester, he knows this. You can run 200 Qs an hour. I mean, just like that on sideband without any issues. And if you're running through 3 ops, it slows it down a little bit. So sometimes we go into what we call contest mode. We were running 4 ops just about a month ago there with Les, and you know, it's something that we have to try to get as many logs in the book as possible. And we do apologize, you know, because we have so many POTA friends, and we want to say hi and, you know, handshake across the airwaves and stuff. But when we don't have that much time, you know, you're the activator, you run it. So, and that's sometimes the best option is to run it, you know, contest style. So I want to kind of look at one more thing. As we were on the island on our last trip, got to meet Kevin. Kevin is a wonderful activator. He's a, you know, a very awesome person to have in the POTA community, and we got to meet him as on one of our activations, and he has a YouTube channel as well, and he, you know, does a lot of things for POTA. So you see these guys that are up here, this isn't, nothing is paid. These guys do this on their own time. We do this on our own time as mapping reps and trying to promote. I encourage you, as Carrie said, she is running the booth with Michael, W4OPS, super nice guy, and I give a shout out to Michael. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, and he's a great addition to the POTA community. So I just wanted to close with you know, one more quick story. We went to, when we went to Turks and Caicos for the first time, I kept getting this call in my log, and I'm like, what's going on? So I kept logging and started getting these other calls in my log. And before I knew it, I was like, this dude's hunted this park like 100 times. And what's going on? And within just, I don't know how many activations, we would jump bands. And so I got my log, we go to the next trip. You know, 3 months later, we're back in Turks and Caicos. And I go, what? And, you know, it was Les. And so I got Les, and I didn't know Les before then. But Les has become like family. He's like my brother. And so you build this bond, and there's so many people that we just become friends with. I have another great friend, Scott, K3SDM, Randy, K4DY. You guys know, you hear these calls, they become great friends on the radio. And as Carrie mentioned, you just hear that call and you're like, oh yeah, you know, and you just become, you know, friends with these people. And you know, it's a great thing. So within that, Les sends me an email. How do you guys pack? How do you travel? You know, well, what radio you use? How do you carry your batteries on the airline? And so I shot him an email. We changed numbers, talked, and next thing you know, him and his wife are heading to Turks and Caicos with us. So we're going to set up a GoFundMe. So if you guys want to do de-expedition to Turks and Caicos, I know the mapping rep there, so we can do that. And I have connections to help get the license moved through pretty quick. So you'll have to get a license, you know, to operate there, but it's not very expensive. So anyway, I just wanted to share this, and most importantly, youth. Let's keep youth involved. And as I have 2 boys, I want to thank every one of you guys that have hunted them, worked them, activated, let them hunt you. Maybe you've heard their calls, I hope, but that's what's very important, keeping youth engaged, and Parks on the Air and ham radio. And I really want to just thank the POTA group, and you guys are amazing. I just want to thank you guys so much, because this is life-changing. This is like we're family. We become family, and you know, this is just a great way to, you know, continue to grow Parks on the Air. So thank you so much. God bless, and 73.
Thank you, John. That was a good, you want to open the password? We're going to do a few more questions, and then we will respond as best we can in the next meeting. The next presentation, just to be ready, the entire board's going to come up, and we're going to talk about basically how we want to administer the group and what we're going to do. And it's not going to change, it's going to improve. And I know people are nervous about what we're thinking, what we're doing, so you want to ask questions in the next meeting, please. Think time, let's go through this. Does the POTA organization need donations? That is a great question. Thank you. There is a donation on the POTA website. Many people do make donations. There's a book that's been written that Rick wrote and others have contributed, and that money goes to pay for the mapping, the computer, and we'll get into this in the next one, but there are a lot of expenses. When I first got involved, I was amazed at the activity and the exponential costs that are associated with it on our end. And again, it's all free on our side, what we're doing, and the time. So yes, donations are very welcome and will help us do many more things. How can I find the park originator for my state? I think that's John. I think that's on the app as well. The park originator.
Like, is that your mapping rep for your state?
They're all listed on there.
Yeah, on the
It's
website.
on the website.
Go to North America, and then it'll be a North American listing for each state.
All right, let's go through some of these older or newer ones. Does anybody use Rocketbook's Notepad for a log?
I do not.
No? All right, let's see. What's Carrie's preferred logging program?
So right now, pen and paper is still my preferred, but I really like it in hand 2K.
And Sebastian, who is the programmer, I don't know if I see him here, he's going to start volunteering in POTA and help us. His own app, and it's a wonderful app. I use it as well. Is it possible to do a multi-op CW activation, letting the hunter know you're passing the key to another op doesn't seem seamless as SSB? You want to say that?
I've actually wondered that myself, and I want to try it, and I know he's here, sitting down right there. But I would like to try a double ops. No, I need two. These are two ops because it gets.
Thank you for that comment. Like the best camera you have, the best radio you can own is the one you have with.
Sorry, I got a phone call.
True. And working. And you know, it's practice. Every time you go out and you use it, you get more experience in that radio. Donations, we answered that one. How can I find the park? We answered that one. You need to be online to do POTA. No. You need a battery.
There's a lot of parks and you're not going to have any online access, so prepare for it. But you don't have to be online, but it does help that you have to actually log in at some point to join the POTA family.
Right. Now, this is a good question, and I'm going to add something. How do you spot yourself when there's no internet or cell? You can do it at home. On the app, there's a thing for an advanced that you can put on there, modes, and if you're having a QSO, you can ask someone, hey, please spot me. Or sometimes if you're not spotted, they'll say, do you want me to spot you? Yes, please. And then go. Or in CW, the beacon will realize it.
Sorry
Somebody
about the
had asked me
interruption.
to make a comment for park to park in CW. If you're working somebody and you're at a park, go on the spotter, put on there, thanks for the QSO, I'm at Park XYZ, and then upload it. Then later in the log, that CW op that's hunting can go back and remember, oh, call sign, KIG5, he's over here, and it's a good way of promoting it. So if people start using the spotting service on the apps, that really is helpful.
Yeah, one other thing, I noticed if you're calling and you can't spot, I've done this, is when someone finally hears you, ask them nicely, if you have access, will you spot me on this frequency, and here's my park number and call sign, and had people spot me that, so that worked as well.
This is a great question. I know a lot of people raised their hand earlier about being first, and sometimes we forget because we've been doing it. How do you handle your first failed activation when starting out? Any tips from bouncing back? There is never a failed activation because you learn. You forget your antenna breaks, something happens, you don't finish it. The battery, I had bought this S-Bit-X, got to the 10th one, it was going, it didn't log, and the battery ran out. I'd say, darn it, I need 2 batteries. But everything is a learning. And all the new people, don't be afraid, get on, because we were all new. And it's not about how many QSOs, how many activations. The best time to start is now. Just do it, don't worry. Everybody in the room is all friendly. You're gonna become friends with everybody. They're gonna work you through it, even while you're doing it. So don't worry, just do it, have fun. That's what we're all doing. I think John had a great comment. It's a community. That's why it's seeing everybody.
But also remember, if you only get 8 contacts, log them anyway, because
Yeah.
you may not get the credit, but your hunters want that credit.
Yes, even if you get one, log that.
Log it anyway.
I think we're getting a number that we have to stop. Well, overseas, I found that I need to log with my U.S. call instead of the foreign calls. That any way that you can get that log loaded? John, you want to about a foreign call saying?
Just make sure you log it right. So we're VP5 stroke in our call. So just log that in as right, and because if not, and one quick thing, if you activate out of country or something, when you put on your POTA your call, when you're setting that up, make sure you put all your calls. If you say portable, put a stroke P, and because you'll be surprised for mobile, stroke M. Because a lot of times if I'm hunting a park and I say mobile, they're going to log me mobile sometimes, and then if I don't have that under my POTA part of my calls or my VP5, I won't get credit for it. So it's very important. And if you're doing QRZ as well, that's very important because a lot of people won't log us VP5. They'll just log us our call, and you're not going to get a confirmation on QRZ as well. So.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna end this first presentation. We want everybody to stay for the photo, and then you want to stay for the next presentation, please do. It's gonna talk a different perspective in all the board members. This last question about what a mapping rep does, I'm gonna ask John when he comes up in the next one to talk about it. And David's here, we'll explain more, but I want to thank everybody for being here. It's great. And we're just having a lot of fun. And I really appreciate it as a new board member that this is the kind of community we have. Kevin, you want to say some comments, and then we'll get the photographer up here. Thank you, everybody.
I'll just down on what Mark said. If you want more Parks on the Air, sit in your seat. The board's going to come up here soon. We're just going to do a quick transition, and then we'll be talking more Parks on the Air. Thank you. And thanks to these gentlemen and ladies. Thank you.
I'd like to add one thing real quick. Oh, come on. Through the POTA community.
Okay, folks, I stopped this stream right now,
I
and
just
for
got to
the
add
next
one thing.
presentation, I
Through
start a new
POTA,
one.
building
You'll
communities
find the
like
link
John was talking about, is
on
I actually
my
needed a
YouTube channel.
10-foot tower section that was made in Michigan.
I have to make a phone call in between
I
because I meet a
got a hold
guy
of
after
Jason
this
here that
presentation.
was going to pick it up from where they made it, who was going to hand it off in Ohio to Tony out here that was coming to Louisiana. So it saved me a big shipping cost. So, hey, POTA helps you in a lot of ways, too. I appreciate it.
Okay, folks, I end it, and in a couple of minutes I start the second live stream. Thank you so much, folks.